Aloha everybody, shalom. Welcome to the new moon activation, just setting you up here. Sweet, so we just had the equinox. Yay, things are changing. I'm feeling it in the air. I'm feeling it in the energy that surrounds. I'm feeling it in the energy within myself. We're in a time of transition. Speaking of, today is the high holy day in Judaism called Rosh Hashanah. And a lot of you know this as the Jewish New Year, but it's actually not technically just the Jewish New Year. There's so much more to this holy day, and it's also not just for Jews. It's for anyone who wants to participate and receive the Kabbalistic codes that lie within this holiday. So if you want to know more about accessing this very powerful energy that begins tonight at sundown, please join us in the private group on Facebook called Shabbat Crew, Shabbat Crew, CREW. And that is a private group where we share about Kabbalah, Jewish mysticism, and this is a great day to join because not only is it new moon, we're feeling the equinox energies, it's also Rosh Hashanah, which is the most powerful day of the year. So again, if you want to know more about the Kabbalistic codes of Rosh Hashanah, please join us in Shabbat Crew. You might also want to join our other private group called the Archetypal Alliance, where we talk more about things like this, tarot and archetypal activation. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and begin shuffling. And while I shuffle, let me know in the comments where you're tuning in from. I'm tuning in from Sedona, Arizona. And feel free to share this video now while we're live with a family member, with friends, somebody who could use this uplifting message, somebody who could use some guidance right now. Maybe you have a favorite group on Facebook. Let's get them in live. And if not, no worries. You can access the recording afterward here on Facebook. Or for those not on Facebook, the recording will, as usual, go to Rebecca Magic, YouTube, and Instagram. Let's see where you're tuning in from. UK, LA. And remember, you can see the deck as the whole you, and each card is a different aspect of self. And so when we're shuffling it up, we're saying hello to each part of self. We're waking up all of the parts of self, both individual and collective. We've got Florida in the house. SoCal in the house. Scotland in the house. Woo-hoo. Wow, what a beautiful day. I'm really feeling this day. The weather is just such, the weather here anyway in Sedona is just such a representation of that feeling I have inside. So good. Denmark, okay. Yay, Arizona. Ohio. So glad to be gathering for this message. Jersey in the house, Tennessee in the house. So just take a moment to acknowledge the power as everybody's tuning in, knowing that we're all intentionally here now, present in this moment, ready to receive this message for today and the week ahead. Feels so good, so magical. There's nothing more magical than gathering, than uniting in this unified purpose of just bringing more light into the world. Because let's be clear, that's the mission every week with every activation. It's simply to bring more light to the world, to release more light. All right, I'm going to go ahead and take out my Hebrew cards from the magic treasure chest. We've got France in the house. Let us know as you're tuning in, where are you in the world? Let us know in the comments. So the Hebrew cards, they look like this. Some of them are upside down. They work the same way as the tarot. Each card represents a different archetypal aspect of self, different piece of wisdom. So we're just going to shuffle them up. Saying hello to all of them. It's almost like, I just want to offer this perspective that when you're shuffling, it's almost like you're tuning into all the parts of self so that you can turn to face self wholly and fully and presently, so that you're not in denial of any aspect of self. We're them all into our conscious awareness right now, not leaving out any one part of the one. Australia in the house, Egypt in the house. Okay, so make sense? We're turning to face self. It's like you can see the masculine and feminine, or the positive and negative, the intuition and logic, those parts of self turning to face each other like a bride and groom, right? Thanks, y'all, for being so patient. Okay, my connection is not so great. You guys know me. I'm not the fanciest gal. I should be by now. We've been doing this for how many years? Every single week. So bear with me, okay? I won't fail you guys. If we lose the connection, I will somehow get back on and we will complete the activation. Don't you worry. You know we do every time. Okay. There we go. Okay, we're ready to begin. So I just want to say thank you in advance to the archetypes, the faces of the one. So thank you, everyone. Thank me, thank we, thank the one for this message in advance. Thank you for this message about to come through. Beginning with the tarot, we'll go ahead and pull the focus of the week, which is also known as the challenge and gift. Okay. Then we'll go ahead and pull something about the future. And remember, you can't tell the future. You can't actually predict the future. The future isn't written. We're writing it right now, individually and collectively, each moment. So what this card really represents about the future is just a theme that is a part of the cycle of life that is forever reliable. That is an eternal part of this grand scheme of things, okay? It's a part of the divine pattern that's unavoidable. So it's only going to tell us the archetype of the future. That still gives us complete free will and the freedom to be able to choose with our words and with our actions how we want that archetype to be made manifest in our future. So it's telling the future in a way, yes, but only the archetype that's promised. Okay. And then with the Hebrew deck, we'll pull, as usual, the ally of the week. All right. Okay. The internet's not great today. It's kind of funny. This is how it is in Sedona, everywhere I've lived. Okay. Beginning with the challenge, and again, thank you. The focus, aka challenge and gift of the week. We start off with the Major Arcanum card. And I love this card for Rosh Hashanah, for those of you who are into the Kabbalah out there and you're celebrating Shana Tova. So the Emperor, aka the Sovereign, is like the perfect image for Rosh Hashanah because it's all about the king aspect of the one, and we're crowning the king, so to say. So if you want to look up the Kabbalah of that, you can look up crowning the king on Rosh Hashanah. So cool little connection there to the first card pulled. If this is the focus of the week, the challenge and gift, what does it look like? Well, first of all, let's acknowledge it's the new moon, so it's a time of a new beginning, fresh energy upon us. Right away, the message that I receive is, and let me know in the comments if this resonates with you, that it's time to really take our power from the beginning, really claim our power from the beginning. Although Aries is not the primary association to this card, like modern books would have you believe, check out my book if you want to know the proper priority zodiac that's associated with this card. Remember that in all of the major arcanum cards, you can find a little bit of each of the signs, each of the zodiac signs in there. Okay, so although it's not Aries, as modern books would have you believe, there are many Aries signs in here for a reason. Again, I have a class on this card. I have books that talk about this card. But right now what I want to share is that there is an Aries element to the card, no doubt. There's all the red, you know, very Mars. Then it's got these bulls here. Okay, it's got them here. It's look, there's like a war vibe to it, right? And so looking at that archetype of like the Aries, the war god, and the red, and the physicality of it all, we want to look to not the negative side. You don't want your human mind to go to, oh, well, that's bad, and war, and judgment, and all that. What is just the pure energy of that? What is the essence of that? It's power. I think of the Aleph, the Hebrew letter Aleph, and the hieroglyphic symbol associated with it is a bull. And is an ox, sorry. So it's about power. It's about strength. Now, what you choose to do with that is up to you, of course, free will. But we're just addressing the archetype beyond the human manipulation. We're talking about the archetype itself. The energy itself is power, is strength. It's first, it initiates, it trailblazes. Okay, so feel into that energy. How can you invoke that energy within yourself? And then notice how your own judgments start to form of that archetype. Notice how maybe first you let yourself be an embodiment of that archetype without trying too hard, without thinking too much. Just embody it. What does it look like? What does it feel like? Now, inserting conscious awareness, choosing intentionally how to embody that archetype. How might you do it a little bit differently? What are the thoughts that you think in that process of analysis as you're analyzing? How do I switch my primal or my programmed, I should say, how do I switch my programmed embodiment of that Aries-like energy and channel it consciously? Okay, so if this is the challenge right now, it's asking us, how can you be the most, right, the sovereign? How can you be the most sovereign being? How can you take the initiative right now and be that powerful force that we all are tapped into, right, is the most powerful force of the Most High, of the Creator. And we all have that within us. We all have the ability to connect to that. So how can we connect to that fully and with purpose? Let's go a little deeper with what that looks like. What is the purpose of that energy even, right? It's like, what are we really here to do with that energy? The Emperor, aka the Sovereign, is the one who preserves and protects life. Life is also truth, is also law, is also innocence, is also light. These are all synonyms. Light, life, truth, innocent, love. And so you, as this archetype, because he is within all of us, and I say he because he's the active element, that those qualities are nothing if we don't act on them, right? That's why it's a man in this card, but he is in all of us, okay? So how are we choosing to protect and preserve all of those words that I just said? And remember, they're all synonyms. How are we choosing to protect and preserve innocence with our thoughts, with our speech, and with our actions? How are we choosing to protect and preserve life with our thoughts, with our words, and with our actions? This is the archetype within us that makes sure we have a strategy, right? Strategy is a key word for this card. We make sure we have a strategy or a plan so that all of these things, life, light, truth, love, innocence, can be preserved and protected. He's the part of us that takes action to ensure that that method of preservation is always kept in place, is always honored, is always respected. So I don't know about you, but if I had to choose, with my conscious awareness, I had to choose a card for the energy of this time of the year, Rosh Hashanah, new moon, equinox, I would choose this card because it's about a powerful beginning, a powerful start with the commitment to be sovereign, with the commitment to be like this royal figure, but in reflection of who? Rainbow light. This reflection of who? But the greatest king, right? Like we refer to God as Jews on Rosh Hashanah as the king. We humbly accept that we are created in that image. We are not the one king, but we are in the image of this king. And so we must vow to be sovereign beings. And it's perfectly set up for us. There's a divine pattern, strategy that is always displayed in our lives as we move through our own internal experiences and external experiences. If you only remain aware and observe, you'll see this divine pattern behind all things. And so if we could model our own strategy on the path of activating this archetype within us, if we could model our own strategy after this divine sequence, this divine strategy, we are guaranteed success. And what is that pattern that we are to adopt? It's universal law. It's the 10 commandments. It's the principles of truth, whatever you want to call it. There's so many different names for it. It's really moral code. There is a science to morality. If you don't get that yet, you should probably be reading something like Emmett Fox's The 10 Commandments, or, you know, studying the metaphysical reality behind any religion. It's at the basis of all of these religions and cultures, is the understanding that morality is a science. It's not just like, be a good person. It's like, no, you actually have to. There's a science to being a good person, right? Oh, there's my cat. So going back to this, let's tune back in here. Let's focus, okay? So we already have that pattern offered to us, and all we need to do is adopt it. And so we're starting off this new moon, this new cycle ahead of us with this powerful, robust beginning. But what for? Remember, we have to carry that strategy. It's to preserve and protect truth, love, light, innocence, life. Okay? That's what the Emperor does. And so without getting lost in, oh my God, how do I do that for the whole world? That feels like such a heavy responsibility. Remember, you contain everything within yourself to perform that ritual first on you so that it reflects fully into the world. So don't worry about how am I going to do this for the world. Worry about how can I first activate this within myself. So if this is the challenge this week, let's ask ourselves, how can I be this for myself? How can I take better care of my own life, of my own sovereignty, of my own healing? How can I take better care of myself in every dimension? Physically, how can I care better for myself? Mentally, emotionally, spiritually. How can I have a strategy to ensure that I see these things through, that I keep my word? These are all things that he says from within you. How can I make sure that I do this? It's time for me to take better care of myself, preserve and protect my life, my truth, which is one with the one truth. How can I preserve and protect my innocence, my light? And then Rosh Hashanah is really a time of judgment, right? But in the best way. Yes, it is intense. It is intense, but it doesn't have to be scary. So one way you can use this message for Rosh Hashanah, and just for new moon, really, it applies the same way, is by asking yourself, all right, how can I do all these things better for myself, right? But how have I not been doing them good enough? What things haven't been good for me? What thoughts have I been choosing that haven't been good? What words have I been speaking that have not been good? What actions have I been taking that are not good? And be honest, and don't be afraid. It's all temporary anyway. We want to make the most of this information, so don't run away from it. Don't be afraid to put on your judgment hat. Only God can judge, right? There is only one, and God is always watching through your eyes. So how can you put on that proper judgment hat and not be so afraid of really taking a good look at yourself? Because that's what this energy today is all about. So tonight, as the sun is going down, I encourage you to start thinking about that and be real about it. Be serious about it. Be honest about it. These are all qualities of the Emperor, aka the Sovereign. How can I look at my decisions this whole past year? All the decisions I've been making, and see how some of that stuff has not been helping me to preserve and protect my innocence and my light. And then once you get through that process of judging your own choices in thought, speech, and action, ask yourself then, all right, let me go through this again, but this time let me consider how each of those things affected the collective, because we are one. So now I'm going to say, instead of, the first round, you might say, oh, well, I ate some bad things and that wasn't really good for me. And the second round, you say, yeah, I ate some really bad things and that wasn't good for us because I'm a part of the whole. And when I'm my best self, I'm doing the best I can for the whole. So connect each of those judgments you made to the understanding of how it affected the whole. And the energy tonight is so powerful to perform this work. Just know that your efforts right now are multiplied greatly because of the way in which the forces are incoming right now. The pattern right now of the way that the light is flowing just makes it so that you are supported to do this work here now. Okay, so judge yourself. Don't be afraid. We have to judge to refine. Another thing you can do when you're asking yourself, what are these good things that I can do to better protect and preserve my life, my light, my innocence, etc.? You can say, I'm now calling in the energy. I'm now calling in the light. I'm open to receiving this extra light tonight and in these holy days ahead, because I deserve that light. I am that light. I'm one with that light, and I'm going to do with that light for the light. Does that make sense? I'm going to use this extra light to make more of it myself in the world. That will be my gift. Please, Creator, give me that light, because what I'm going to do with it is profound, and it's for us as one. And that's really how you open up to that light, is knowing that, I don't like the word deserve, but knowing that, like, yes, I need this. This is for us. Okay, so make sure that you hold on to that knowing, because moving through the process of judgment for a lot of us can be scary and overwhelming, but it should not be. It should be understood as just a part of the process and a very important part of it. So that's the challenge and gift. Starting off tonight with a powerful new intention of being the most sovereign that we can possibly be. Okay, and we're moving into the future. And this message came through very clear as soon as I pulled it. Okay? We're going through this so that we can arrive at this. The Two of Swords is all about indecision. Swords is a suit of challenges, okay? But we remember that it's only temporary. So right away, we don't have to get lost in the details of the situation. We first remember, okay, it's a challenge. Challenges are only temporary. What is the challenge trying to teach me or tell me? Two of Swords is all about indecision. And it comes down to this, you guys. Sometimes, not just sometimes, but oftentimes, because it's a part of the cycle of life, we come to these points where we feel, I don't know what to do. I don't know which way to go. I feel undecided. And what happens is we get so caught up in our thoughts that we end up distracting ourselves from the experience that is unfolding right before us, to where if we just instead were present for that experience, we would have the material that we needed to have upon that point of making the decision. So in other words, what we do is we become so overwhelmed at the thought of, I just don't know what to do, that we cut ourselves off from receiving important codes or signals from the universe that are literally trying to give us the answer. It's the silly thing that we do, right? So let's accept right here, right now, those moments of unknowing, of mystery. And let's choose right now to project a positive image that when we arrive at this point, we're going to accept the indecision. We're going to remember to come present and know that we are doing our best. When we do that, we are being the fullness of who we are, when we can just be present. And that's everything. And you don't need to know anything when you can do that. You don't need to know a thing, because you know you are one with all things. So let's remember that at this next point, this inevitable point of indecision, let's remember to come present. And let's further acknowledge that in that moment that this is going to take place, we're affirming right now, in that moment when it takes place and we move from indecision to quickly awareness and shift into presence, that is going to lock in for eternity. We're calling that in. We're affirming that. It's not just for that one moment, that one fleeting moment. It's for the deeper meaning of what a moment even is, which is eternity. So we're setting the intention that we're going to move from indecision and quickly into presence. And that quick shift is going to be a display of the rising of our consciousness, the rising of our awareness into the next evolutionary stage, where for the rest of time, we're going to have that code where whenever we feel uncertainty, we will immediately move into presence and know that we are safe, that all is perfect, all is well. That's it, period. And what a gift to the world when we can do this individually as all the powerful people that we are, so intentional with this work, but also collectively when we all do that together and spread this message, please, like in your own words, even share this activation in your own words, share that message with people that we're calling this in, that we're going to move from uncertainty into trust, into presence like this. How powerful would that work be for the world in such an uncertain time? These are such uncertain times. Everything is so backwards and confusing and on purpose, and some of it not on purpose, and we don't really know who to believe or who's right or this or that. And there's so much uncertainty. So yeah, of course we're moving toward that. That's actually an archetype for a reason. It's given a card because it's inevitable that we experience this again and again in the circle of life. But especially in this time of uncertainty, in this weird time we find ourselves in, what a valuable thing it would be if we could all consciously choose to, the next time we feel that indecision, and we could go down that road of anxiety and all this and that fear, all the things we don't even need to say right now. Instead, we would go into, it's not the time to know, and I choose presence. And in that moment, all is well. We have to develop the ability to go through that process if we want to make it through these times that we're experiencing right now. Wouldn't you say? Okay, so moving to the final card. And as I say final, it's the final letter of the alphabet. It's the Tav. And I love the Tav. I love that this is the ally of the week. Because the Tav carries the message of, it's the spiritual axiom, the beginning is implicit in the end, and the end is implicit in the beginning. They're really one. And the middle is never ending. It's a never ending connection between the two. I think of Solomon's Song of Songs, right? This never ending romance, this divine romance that we're all experiencing within each of our own selves, right? Selves. So Tav carries that reminder. It's the end, but there's always a begin again. So the opposite always lies hidden within, right? This is a law of energy, and it's a hermetic law. So within the Tav is the Aleph, begin again. Oh, I love the class that we did a few years ago on the Tav card. If anybody wants that, please reach out and ask me how to get that. I have a video class on this card. It's about an hour long. Okay, so as well, the hieroglyphic symbol for the Tav is an X, which is the original cross, by the way. And when you see that hieroglyphic symbol, it's referring to, like, X marks the spot. What spot? The eternal spot, the point through which light came in and became all of creation. Speaking of Rosh Hashanah and Genesis. Okay, so when you see the Tav, the final letter, you think X marks the spot. It's the beginning and the end. So if this is the ally right now, what is it telling us? Yes, you may be feeling this powerful energy of a new beginning, but what is a new beginning without a proper ending? Perhaps it's not so much the beginning as it is the part right before the beginning, if you know what I mean. It's like we're being given this grand pause. All right, you're about to enter that X marks the spot, okay? This is what the ally is telling us. You're about to enter that X marks the spot. You're about to jump in that portal. You're looking at it right now, which is really just a reflection of yourself, right? That's like what Rosh Hashanah is all about. And the energy of this message is all about is facing self, right? So you could see yourself as that X, right? X marks the spot, the beginning and the end. It's you, baby. There's only one. Okay, so you're turning to face your reflection. You're about to dive in. You're about to reconnect to self. You're about to plug in. How can you best do that this week? Being that sovereign, being all that this archetype represents. I'm looking at myself, I'm ready to go. And why are we going through this? So that we can feel so connected to self that we never worry, we never stumble when we come to these moments of indecision. Instead, we all come into presence and literally create collective miracles. Because if we responded that way to the indecisions as they are manifested in our world today, whoa. I mean, the indecision in our collective society is around some really heavy stuff. You know what I'm talking about? Like politically speaking, for example. That's all I need to say. I don't even need to say anything more. Just politically, if we were to respond to the politics of today with true presence, united as a collective consciousness, whoa. Okay? So the Tav is reminding us this week, yes, it's the energy of a new beginning, but it's also, there's always going to be a new beginning. Okay? The Tav has a lot to say. There's always going to be a new beginning. And if you're about to step into the new beginning, pause and ask yourself, how was the ending though? Is the ending quite over yet? How can I seal it up? Okay. The Tav is also seen as like a seal for the Aleph Bet. So how can I be the best seal? Like on Rosh Hashanah, you hear this word a lot, right? Seal, sealing your name in the book of life. If you want to know more about the Kabbalah, again, join our private group, Shabbat Crew. I'm posting a lot in there today. Okay. So the Tav is the seal. How can I best seal the end and the beginning, connect them? Okay, it's like I'm about to commit to being the best version of myself, being the most sovereign version of myself. But let me really honor all the ways in which I haven't been yet, so that I make sure that I do a good, thorough review of everything I've thought, said, and done this year. It's to the best of my ability. I'm not going to kill myself over it. That's just silly, right? Then you're distracting yourself. But how can I dig up the most material from this past year and really use that as compost for the future that I'm about to step into? It's almost like you're about to step into that X, right? About to step into that portal and go, oh, hold on. Whew, this is a powerful moment. Let me really make sure I'm making the most of this moment. That's the Emperor in you, the sovereign. The more you work on this archetype, by tonight, sundown, you're going to be ready for that portal, okay? So you're about to step in. You just want to make sure that you savor this moment and make the most of it. Make the best of it. That's the energy of Rosh Hashanah every year. And really, that's the energy that we can tonight really feel to its maximum capacity. And then invoke that whenever we need it in our days, in our lives. Maybe every new moon we feel that, because every new moon, this theme of Rosh Hashanah is kind of carried on. In fact, Rosh Hashanah kind of represents eternity, so it's present every moment, the theme of Rosh Hashanah. So all the work that you do, particularly tonight and in the days ahead, is really going to help you for the rest of the year. It's a very powerful ritual. I feel like this may be one of the most powerful activations we do all year. So please, please share it with family and friends. Please join our private group, Shabbat Crew, to learn more. I'm going to be sharing so many resources and articles I already have. Yeah, I just want to recap and then we'll be ready to go. Looking at all of the images. And remember, you guys, tarot is also a visual tool. So every symbol, every color in these cards touches that part of your brain that is connected to the frequency of that archetype, or that primal life force energy, that ancient energy, which otherwise we'd have no ability to touch those places or connect. We have to do it through our awareness and through familiar concepts like these cards that are little pictures that show what those frequencies look like when we as humans embody them, right? So don't forget, you can use the cards as visual tools. Instead of letting your own mind create some complex image where like your sneaky ego or subconscious is, you know, connecting all these other thoughts to it that don't actually need to be, you don't want to do all that. Instead, you can simplify by just gazing at one of these images. That's how powerful they are. Okay, so you can look up Two of Swords. You can look up the Emperor, aka the Sovereign. Type in the Emperor Tarot. And you can look at the images, make it your phone background, print it out, put it on your altar, put it on your mirror, put it where you're going to see it when you first wake up and when you go to sleep. And what it will do when you just gaze upon it, just looking at it, it will take you straight to that place. It will light up that exact neural pathway in your brain that wants to be lit up to perform this work, to activate this archetype. I would definitely choose to focus on this one for tonight. Okay, so looking at the images, remember, we're stepping into this new beginning most powerfully, as powerfully as we possibly can, with the intention of preserving and protecting our own and the collective innocence, life, light, truth. law, love. I'm stepping into this new beginning with that intention. And I'm also sealing up the ending to make sure that I make the most of everything I've just gone through, so that when I take this step forward, I'm the most ready I can be. And no matter what comes our way, no matter how many times a day I used to get lost in the fears and anxieties of not knowing what's to come, the fears and anxieties of uncertainty, that's no longer me. I'm going to remember that who I am is X marks the spot. I am the beginning and the end. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I am the Aleph and the Tav. Okay? And I will no longer fear indecision. I'll know to let it go and come present with you all. We here as one. Awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining for this activation. Again, feel free to share this video with your family, your friends, or favorite group, someone who could use an uplifting message right now, or someone who could help enhance this message further. If you know somebody who's an amazing person on their path, totally receptive to this kind of ancient wisdom and is willing to implement it, get them on our team, get them in the portal, let them know we do this every week. Remember, the 2 private groups are the Archetypal Alliance and Shabbat Crew, which is blowing up right now. So please join us in Shabbat Crew to learn some Kabbalistic magic. It's a private group, so you have to join to see the information in there. Also, thank you guys so much for all of your beautiful reviews on my books and also on these activations. If you feel called, if you've been moved by some way by these activations, if they've helped you in some way, please go to my Facebook page, facebook.com/RoyalPathTarot, and write a review. You can do a star review. If you don't know how to do that, or if you want to send me a review privately, you can email it to me, info@royalpathtarot.com, or just private message me a review. I love to hear from you guys. It blows my heart up to hear all of your words about what you feel about the material I share and how much it resonates with you, and how it, tell me your personal stories. That's my favorite. I love it if you're willing to share. My books are on Royal Path 1, the Major Arcanum, Royal Path 2, the Minor Arcanum. It'll tell you about the Hebrew correlations, the non-manipulated Hebrew letter associations, and then a new way of looking at the elemental suits and the elements beyond manipulation. Okay, so let me know if you're interested in that. Don't forget about my video class, you guys. Each Major Arcanum card has an hour to an hour and a half long class. It's a video. I just email it to you. So send me a message if you're interested in that. And thank you so much for your donations. My donation links will be on my wall after this video. And I think that's it. I'm so excited about Rosh Hashanah. I'll see you guys in Shabbat Crew in a short bit. Yay! Chag Sameach! Love you guys. Shalom.